In on a little secret of a way that Alice and I fight, and I wonder if we're the only ones or if you guys do this too. So we were just about to record a video, and Alice says to me, "But you can't yell." And why would I ever intentionally yell on a video? I'm just talking loudly.
Very loudly.
I'm like, "Can I be hard of hearing?" And she goes, "No." And here's where the little fight comes in. I notice that the louder I talk, the softer Alice will get. And then, by the way, it's not always that way in life, right? You could have a couple that when one gets louder, the other gets louder, and they like laid up. But
we've had those times too.
We have, and there's a lot of areas in life though where one of us does more of something, the other one actually protest is almost by pulling as far in the other direction as possible.
Just counterbalance.
The more I want to travel, the more you are like,
"Can we just go home?"
Yeah. So I wonder when people are thinking through, oh my gosh, why in the world did I get in a relationship with somebody that is so different than me? You're doing this to each other. Like we talk about the image of like a boat of imagine you're out on a boat as just the two of you, and one of you leans really far in one direction, the boat starts to like dip, the other person just instinctually will go the other
will go the other way, because you'll cause disaster if you both go to the same way. Even though travel, you just brought that up, right? So Seth loves to travel. It doesn't mean I don't like to travel, but I'm also looking at, all right, with the sanity of the children, for the sanity of our health, and like so that we don't gain 37 pounds in 6 weeks. Sometimes it's just good to be home because there's a stability, there's a routine, there's a structure that, at the beginning of the summer we were ready to get away from. We're like, let's go travel. And then it's like I hit a point where I'm like, I think it's time we need to let travel. You're like, but I want to go do all of these things. Doesn't mean I don't love those things, but there is that counterbalance that needs to be brought in.
So let's think about some other areas where counterbalance happens a lot. Finances.
Yeah.
The saver and the spender. Usually in a relationship, you could be like,
I'm the saver.
I am the spender. A saver who is the spender in your relationship. And what you might notice is that the person who is initiating, let's say I'm the spender and I start spending, or I will call it investing. That's another word for it. And then all of a sudden, the further I go in that direction, the more that Alice will almost put on the brakes. That's not because Alice doesn't appreciate things or want to spend money or want to invest. It's actually like, you're playing a role that you almost, I don't want to say I force you to play it, but as characters in a movie, it's almost required. The more one partner goes over here, the other partner is going to come over here to counterbalance it.
And I think the key there is to appreciate the role that you each play in it. I love that you will go invest and take more risks because I need more of that in my life. And I can be voice of reason and know a little bit of practicality over here when it's like, hey, let's what's the missing conversation that we need to have to know if we're in the right balance in this season.
Kids, not you, our kids, or your kids. Good cop, bad cop, right? In parenting, that's another example of counterbalancing. I remember multiple times this has happened, but I remember coming to you one time, I don't want to be bad cop anymore. I feel like I only get called in. I feel like I've been cast. What is that in a movie? Is when somebody gets cast into a role. Typecast.
Well, it didn't just happen at home. It happened at the office too, where with our team, it was always good cop, he was always bad cop, and works sometimes. And then there's missing conversations around, hey, when is that no longer serving us?
So maybe here's something to think about is, let's take that word typecast. A good discussion for us to have, and maybe a good discussion for you to have, is where are you feeling typecast? That you don't want to be. Like, you might say like, hey, I don't always want to be the one saying no to this or no to that, right? Like, we could actually shuffle the deck a little bit and switch it around. In what areas of life are you feeling typecast that it's always been this way and you want to flip it a bit? It's totally reasonable to do. It's a part of counterbalancing each other, but understanding that nothing is set in stone inside of those roles.
So here's a quick exercise for you. Go ahead and whip out a piece of paper and just write down, like, what are the roles that you feel like you play? What are the roles that your spouse plays? And take a look at it. Maybe have some fun with it this week and say, hey, where can we shuffle this up a little bit and reverse roles for a change?
All right. Take care.